If there's one thing I've learned through my turbulent career as a streamer, is that there's a lot of sick people out there just trying to gatekeep you from, I guess, a community, or trying to really gatekeep you from growing in general. And by no means is what I'm about to talk to limited to a single community, whether it's gaming, whether it's, I don't know, sports content, whether it's fucking a toy channel. I don't really know, bro. The point is that I'm making a very generic rant video based on my past experiences as a content creator, and kind of going over my thoughts as far as what is kind of keeping me from getting back into it 100%. While of course this isn't the only reason that I am not just full throttle going for it again, you know, balls to the wall, gaming all day, stinking up a storm, 8 hours a day, grind fest. I'm just trying to give you guys kind of a better perspective on the way that I've been thinking as of late, and it's changed a lot over the past 4 years, if you would. Of course, as you guys know, I don't upload very often, but lately I've gotten that itch, you know, I've gotten that drive, and that's kind of what I've talked about lately, or at least I talked about in my last video. I said I would just kind of make things as I felt like I needed to make things, and if there were no ideas flowing, or if I just didn't feel, you know, I guess the love for it, or the drive to do it, then I just was going to not. I'm not going to force myself to be burnt out, I'm not going to force myself to make a bad product. Alright, anyways, we got that out of the way. So what kind of person am I talking about? Because I am in no means trying to call out a single individual by a certain name, but if you're offended by what I'm about to say, then this probably applies to you, and you should probably perform some sort of self-evaluation before coming at me. But regardless, I'm talking about people who I would classify as terminally online. And, well, it's pretty much a blanket statement at that point, but allow me to kind of fill you in on what I think a terminally online person is, at least by my means. There are all sorts of people out there trying to make it on the internet, and I'm not talking about terminally online people as being somebody who just spends a lot of time on the internet, because that would be very unfair to people who actually have serious professional careers doing this sort of things, just being influencers and being positive kind of influences on their retrospective communities and all of that. Like, for instance, I can't sit here and say somebody like Dr. Disrespect or XQC is terminally online, chronically online, or whatever, because at the end of the day, not only are they making good money, but like, that's their life. They are constantly in this shit. They are attuned to it, and they're not really like sitting out there gatekeeping people. They are in their own pond. They're a big fish in their own, well, actual big pond, and they really only interact with the big fish, if you would. No, the people I'm talking about are people who assume that they're the big fish, when in reality they're very small fish in a very small pond. It just really has to do with somebody who's completely, if I would, brainwashed to thinking a certain way when it comes to their opinions and their way of doing things. Now, of course, I don't think that this just applies to the subject matter at hand, or at least my own little focus group here of being streamers or content creators. I think you can actually find the person that I'm describing in a lot of IRL scenarios as well, but regardless, we're just going to get right into it and kind of start evaluating these kind of people. I'm by no means a psychiatrist or a doctor, but I can tell you that I feel like a lot of internet communities suffer from this greatly, and it makes it very hard for me to actually get involved into other communities and to branch out, I guess, if you would. Well, I guess I think I'm talking more of my experiences 3 years ago, because in reality, whenever I was streaming a lot, I was not tuning into other people's streams. I was not trying to, you know, associate with as many other people in my same sphere as I could, or at least I wasn't after a couple failed attempts, because I really realized very quickly that people are not very attuned to outside ideas, and also just kind of helping another person out and trying to grow in the same sphere. They're trying to just grow as themselves. They're selfish. They can kind of just make these crazy, you know, assumptions about people, if you would. It was a crazy problem that I ran into time and time again. Now, the person that I'm describing is somebody who becomes so grossly absorbed within these internet cultures, or really just any culture. Like I said, the term is terminally online, but you can meet somebody who's just as equally as frustrating to talk about with sports, or maybe even tech, work, you know, whatever. You can find these people out there, and just about any sphere. But we're going to stick with the term terminally online, just not to confuse people, right? These people, of course, become grossly absorbed within their cultures. They develop some sort of a miniature god complex, if I would call it that. Once they become absorbed within these cultures, I mean, they start to depend on it so much more than they really should, especially whenever, the people that I'm talking about are these small fish in these small ponds. At the end of the day, not to be mean, most of what they're saying doesn't really matter, or they're just such small influence that they're trying to, whether it's bullying people or just by harassing people, make their words feel as if they are of some sort of importance. And it's never usually in a positive light. They're usually trying to put other people down, and they're usually just trying to tell people it's my way or the fucking highway. These people are very, very aggravating, and I can tell you, if you're trying to grow as a creator, that it's very, very important that you just cut these people off. I would not interact with them. I would not let them get into your culture, into your community, into your whatever. Now, the point of this video is not to shame people who spend a lot of time on a game or in a Reddit or in, just kind of like internet groups, whatever have you. No, that doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, of course, people could always be spending their time in different ways, but at the end of the day, you don't really know what other people are spending their time on or what they really value their time as. Everybody's time is valuable in different ways, so that's not what I'm trying to do. The people that I'm really trying to highlight are the people who not only spend a lot of time in these groups, but also make it everybody else's business, and also shame people for not spending the same amount of time and dedication within these groups. Like, if you play a game casually, and then your tryhard friend is making fun of you for just wasting your time doing X, Y, and Z, when in reality you're really having a good time. Well, at the end of the day, who's really playing the game better? The guy who's just completely frustrated with every single thing that's going on, or the guy who just got off their 9 to 5 to play a couple of hours, or maybe even just, a couple of sessions, and they're having the time of their life hanging out with their buddies. I'm just saying that playing a video game for a long period of time, while it may not be healthy, that in and of itself is not a problem. It's whenever it becomes a hyper-fixation and starts to actually really cause a dependence in individuals that it becomes a problem. Again, just because I focused on just video games and content creations does not mean that I'm just focusing on that as the problem. I'm focusing on anybody who has this sort of toxic fixation. Now, me personally, I've become extremely annoyed in the past at these people who have an extreme dependence on these groups. Their views and behaviors become warped by whatever group they are obsessing over, and they may become passive-aggressive at very minor things. They're very eager to burn you at the stake for your wrong opinions, ideas, strategies, whatever have you. And the problem is that once it becomes bad enough, there's like an infinite amount of triggers for these people. You really never know. You could just be having a casual talk with your friends on Discord, or just, I don't know, in a group chat, and you always got that one guy, that one fella who's picking a fight about just something that doesn't matter, is what the point is, right? That they're starting a debate, or they're starting a confrontation with somebody because they are wrong about something that has such little significance over your life that it's just like, bro, why does this even matter to you? You're not that guy, bro. Well, guys, obviously this wasn't a very complex video, and it's nothing like the rest of my works, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off right here. This is kind of a newer side to my videos, as I mostly just improv this, and it was a rant kind of recapping a lot of what's been plaguing the whole content creation thought inside of my head, right? Like, if I get back into it, what exactly am I gonna have to deal with? Like, what am I gonna have to deal with on the day-to-day? Like I said, I'm not scared of criticisms, but I am very hesitant to kind of interact with some people who really don't know how to interact very well, And of course, like I said, a lot of this was just fixating on my experiences within a very certain, particular group, but this can apply to just about anything. And, it's very important that you just identify this and just kind of say, you don't want this idea to spread. You don't want other people's toxicity to ruin whatever you're enjoying and ruin your growth too. Like, that's the whole point of this. This isn't me calling out a specific person. And like I said earlier, if this actually, pushes you a wrong way, if it's pushing a certain button or making you feel some type of way, well, maybe it's time to, evaluate yourself. You don't want to be that guy who's just, always picking fights over things that do not matter. And I'm just going to close it off here. Guys, I'm I'm trying to make some more videos here in 2023. This is a very kind of low edited video, and I don't really know what to expect because I've got a lot of stuff cooking that isn't really content creation. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, so we're just gonna work with what we got. We're gonna see where it takes us, and I'm definitely gonna be more active here. I will catch you guys later. This has been Pops. I'll see y'all.
Die, Gary. What?
Bitch ass bitch, Gary.